All right, that was our minute. Once again, my name is Andrew. I'm excited to give this class this morning. We get to show you something brand new, and that's a fun topic for me to dive into. As we go today, if you have any questions, if you look at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, there's a questions tab. If you want to put your questions there, that works great. Lowell and some other folks I didn't introduce Lowell, sorry. While I am showing you some new stuff today, I've got Lowell also on screen, and he will be chime in as necessary, and also is here to answer your questions, like I said. You can also put them in the regular chat. Either way works fine. Take a quick look at our agenda today. So we're going to start by just talking about, a little bit of streak terminology. We're going to start talking about contacts in regards, and also pipelines. And that'll be sort of our foundation, make sure we're all on the same page. When we say contact, we know what we're all talking about. And then we'll take a look at the new stuff. So we'll look at the new contact list. We'll look at the new custom contact column features. We'll do that in regular slides here that we prepared. And then after we've had a chance to talk about it a little bit, we'll take a look at a live demo and walk through everything live, and then go through a couple of additional features. The contact list and the custom contact columns are two main new items to discuss this morning, but we do have some import, mail merge, mobile, some coming soon stuff that we'll do at the end as well. All right. For our foundations, what we're looking at here is a screenshot. In this case, the process we're working on is coffee sales, but we're looking at a pipeline. Each row is what we call in Streak a box. For coffee sales, each one of these rows is a potential deal to sell coffee. A couple of the features that make pipelines a pipeline: it has defined steps, lead, contacted, follow-up, etc., across the top, or up and down, depending upon how you look at it. And then we have fields that are specific to each one of these deals. If we look at the contacts and organization section, which is right sort of in the middle of column, I should say, right in the middle or on the right-hand side, I'm working on the bottom row there, the Cafe Oasis deal. And I've opened up Andrew King as a contact. And for the rest of today, when we talk about contacts and contact list, we're talking about the people, and I'm going to mainly focus on contacts. All of the same things apply for organizations as well. And this column does say contacts and organizations. But for the purposes of today, we're talking about the people that are associated with the rows that you're moving through your process. In this case, we've got Andrew King, and there's a couple of main benefits that you're going to get from using contacts. So if you haven't adopted contacts yet, or your pipelines don't look like this, in the sense that your contacts and organizations don't always have people in them, then there's a couple of main benefits you'll get from using them. And we're going to move on and take a look. Imagine that I clicked right here on Andrew King's name, and it took me to this detail page. This is all about Andrew King. And notice that the contact details on the right-hand side, first name, last name, email, company, same. First name, last name, email, company on the right-hand side. And then we see a news feed of recent activity. We see where this contact exists in Streak. They're associated with Cafe Oasis up there on the top. And then we see all the email that exists between everyone that I collaborate with on my Streak team and this email address. And that's going to show up here automatically. All of this is built in. You're going to see the first name, the last name, the email fields. Every contact has all of these fields already built in. And every contact card, what we're looking at here, every contact page is going to have all of the email. You don't have to do anything for those fields or that data to appear. So those are benefits you're going to get by using Streak contacts. Now, in this page, what we're looking at in the pipeline is the process. So we're organized by deal. What's brand new, and we're excited to show off here, is a contact list. This is organized by people. And the default settings, and for right now, this isn't something that you would change. You're going to see an A to Z list based on first name of all of the contacts that are associated with your streak. If they're in a pipeline, they'll show up here. In a box, in a pipeline, they'll show up here. If you have multiple pipelines, they'll all show up here. If you at one point had them in a pipeline in a box and that no longer exists, the contact will still show up here. And you'll see that the fields that we have are the same right to left. And we'll take a look at a live demo, but in the screenshot, you can see that the fields match the same fields we've been looking at. We've got role, we've got phone, we've got a name here, and then you've got role and phone, and it will keep going to the right. We'll take a look at that in a second in the live demo. We've also added a couple of sort of metadata fields. So if you look here, you can see what pipelines this contact is associated with, and you can see what mail merges this contact is either in right now if it has an ongoing sequence or has been sent in the past. This contact list, one thing that makes it different than the pipeline is we have steps to a process here. When we look at a list, it's one big list. There's not a process necessarily that we're working. We're just looking at that A to Z list. One of the things that we have aspired to do with Streak is to make it as flexible as possible for it to be able to handle different processes that you want to run through Streak. So when you're working in your pipelines, you are able to add custom fields, and we've done the same for custom contact columns. If you've already been using Streak contacts, then you're familiar with the built-in fields that we looked at earlier: name, last name, email, phone. Previously, it has not been possible to add a new field on the contact card. Here, we're seeing a demo of the on the contact list of adding a new field that will now appear on every one of these contacts. If we go back to our pipeline contact demo, then we can talk about some real world uses that you might have for a custom column on a contact versus a custom column on a pipeline, because you are able to customize both your pipeline and also your contact list. And if we come back and look at Cafe Oasis, for this deal, we have a $2,000 potential coffee deal. That deal size is specific to the deal we're negotiating with Cafe Oasis. Later this summer, if and when we want to do more business with Andrew King, we would create a new lead, and that deal would have its own unique deal size. So the deal size is just for the temporary item that we're working through our workflow. If, for example, we were a travel agency and each row was a trip and each trip had a human associated with it, then their passport number, for example, is always going to be the same. Every time you create a row for that human, their passport number comes along as part of the contact card when it's added on the contact card instead of on the individual box. If you're selling coffee and you met and you've added on your contact list, on your contact card, if you've added a new field, for example, for where you met the person, where the referral source is, because that's never going to change about wherever we met Andrew, that's always going to be a fact about Andrew. And you can add that on the contact card and reference it as part of your coffee sales process. So if it's specific to the row, it goes in the pipeline. If it's a permanent detail about the person, then it's going to go on your contact card. All right. Lowell, you can stop me if we have any questions, but I'm going to fire up a live demo here. We're going to go briefly off screen to do so. All right. Oh. Let's try that again. We're going to go over here. We're going to go into our streak. This is a brand new section. Previously, you would have only had the pipeline section. You're now going to see contacts up here in the top left-hand corner. Didn't like, for some reason, when I switched over to screen sharing. And now, this is going to look and feel like a faster, more modern version of the pipeline that you're used to. We've done a lot of work here to make this a nice scrolling experience. The first thing I'll point out is the fields. Again, these are the same fields that we're used to seeing on the contact card. So the name has been condensed into one total field. This is first and last. Their email, their company. These are all editable. This is the mail merges that they've been sent. We'll come back to that in a second. But again, these are all of the same fields that you're used to seeing. Role, phone number, location. We can go right and left. We can go up and down. It's going to scroll. It's going to load on demand. It's got a really nice feel to it. The overall point I would make here, again, the people that show up here are all of the contacts that you've ever created while you're using Streak. So if they're currently in a pipeline, great, they'll show up here. We got coffee sales, we got wholesale coffee, we've got no pipeline. So whether they're in, it doesn't matter which pipeline they're in, or if they're not currently in a pipeline at all, this is going to be everybody that you know that you've added to your Streak. All right, let's take a look at custom contact columns. We're going to go ahead and grab a drop down. There's a couple of different ways that you could do this, but I've grabbed the drop down menu here. I'm going to do add new column. I'm going to do text, and it's going to pop in here. We're going to rename this to referral source, and our referral source here is coffee. Oops, CoffeeCon 25. Coffee 25. Did I spell that right? Okay. And then, live demos. That's what happens. And now, for any of the field, anytime that we view, so let's go take a look at Abigail Moore. We've got our new text field down here on the bottom, and it's going to be referenceable any place that we bring Abigail anywhere in our processes. If we want to do something on the individual, if we want to make an edit on the individual contact level, any of these fields are, pretty much any of them are editable. We can double click to add an email address. We can single click into mail merge if we want to add somebody to a mail merge, and we'll go through that in a moment. You also have the ability to do multi-select here. So if I grab multiple contacts, I can do a couple of different actions with my batch of contacts. You can take all of these folks and walk them through the process here to add to a pipeline and then start moving them through that process. Because again, something that defines the pipeline versus the list is those that list of defined steps to work through your process. I can also take these contacts and add them to either a new or existing mail merge. Let's take Alden Baker and let's add him to our limited time offer mail merge. This is, if you already use mail merge, this is the mail merge screen that you're used to seeing. You'd go directly to add recipients and they'd start to be part of this sequence. If you're not familiar with mail merge, we've got some good resources on that as well. And then the final general feature I'd point out here is building on that idea that any contact we've ever created in a pipeline, not in multiple pipelines, doesn't matter. Everyone here, we went ahead and added you. This feature is rolling out over the next 72 hours. So everyone on this class, thank you for coming. Everyone on this class already has access to this contact list feature and custom columns. So you don't need to do anything for all of your contacts to display here. As soon as you refresh, you should be able to immediately access the contact list and it's going to be populated. If you are, for some reason, starting over fresh, or you want to bring in a new batch of contacts that you haven't run through your process yet, and you're not ready to add them to the pipeline yet, we do support import. You can add from Google Sheets. I'm not going to walk through the whole import right now. If you're familiar with it, it's the same import feature that we use, the only difference being the end result is to add to the list as opposed to adding to a pipeline. So you can, if you're an existing user, you don't need to do anything. You don't need to import in order to see all of your contacts that you've already created. If you want to batch create, then we support from either Sheets or CSV. All right, I gotta switch my screen here again. Oh, and we need to go back to slideshow mode. Okay, so we looked at the custom contacts, we looked at the list, saw mail merge, looked at the first screen of import. I'm not gonna, it's technically possible, but slightly complicated to show you a mobile. So did want to knowledge on both iOS and Android. This is a screenshot of Android, but the styling is very similar. You will be able to see a full list of people. You can view all your contacts and you can take action. Like each one of these buttons here, this would be send an email, this would be start a call, and you can go through, you can view the details as well. Right now on Android, the fields are not editable, but you can see everyone and you can take action on your contacts. Two final notes here. We are putting this out here with what we think is the minimum to make it useful, adding custom fields, seeing everyone. We're still building. We've got a bunch of features planned. The first feature that we're working on and we expect will be most popularly requested. We'd love to get your feedback on point 2 here, and we'll come back to that, but expect this will be one of the most popular, is the ability to take your whole list of people and filter on one of the field or fields, and then save that list of people as its own segment. So if you wanted to filter based off of phone number, for example, or if a email address exists or it does not exist, and then save that for future reference, that's the next feature that we'd expect to see coming. And I hope that sounds exciting. And, I'm teasing that because we would love to get your feedback on what we can do to make this as useful as possible. We know there are a lot of potential features. We've got a long list already, but we'll prioritize it based off of what we hear from everyone. So please get us in in-app chat, or you can email us support@streak.com. We'd love to hear if you love it, if there's something we can do better, if there's something that you like, but it could, we could make it more useful by adding to it. Any and all feedback is highly encouraged, and we will prioritize the next round of building based off of what we hear from you all. All right.
Hey, Andrew.
Yeah.
Perfect timing. We're at the questions tab and we have a question. Michelle says, we have a contacts list that is combined with our organizations list. Will this new list replace our current list? I can take a stab at that. Yeah. I might not totally understand the question, Michelle. So correct me if I'm not getting it right. But the contacts list and organizations lists currently in Streak, as of like yesterday, are separate, and you can see them separately. I don't know if you noticed when Andrew pulled up his demo, but there was a contacts there's a contacts section and there was an organizations section. So they will remain separate.
The other potential answer, Michelle, and this is an inflection point, I suppose, in the product. It was not the reason that we built a contact list is because lots of people asked, how do I see all of the people that I know in one place? Because pipelines are organized around whatever the individual unit of where you're working on, one person you want to hire, one project you want to move forward, what deal you want to close. Some people, and it sounds like this may apply to you, and if not, I would guess it applies to someone else. Some people have chosen to have one pipeline and they've called it sales, and it has your standard stages, and then one separate pipeline and called it contacts and organizations or similar, people we know. And then each row in that pipeline was a person. And what we showed with the contact list would, if you've been doing that manually, then we've built you a better version, and you would no longer need to maintain that separate process. I don't know if that applies for your case. If it applies for anyone else and you would like to talk through the process of moving from one sales pipeline and one contacts pipeline that probably had no stages and was just a big spreadsheet. If you'd like to talk through the process of transitioning, then that would also be a great reason to send us a chat or email us at support@streak.com, and we can set up a screen share and talk through your current setup and walk you through what the changes would mean. And, on that point, I don't think, too much work. If that does apply to anyone, up until this point, it's not like you haven't done anything wrong. And that's a reasonable solution for the set of tools we offered. And, adopting this, I think, is going to be pretty painless. All right, Lowell, anything else before we close?
Nope, I don't think so. Michelle said yes, that would be me. We have 10K plus, I guess, contacts and orgs in Streak.
Great. Yeah, we'd be happy to, if you would like to discuss, we'd be happy to set up a screen share. And the hope is it's just, this is just better. Okay, I'm very happy that everyone took the time to hang out with us this morning, and happy to have brought you new functionality. If you have any questions and that come to you later, please do